Okay, so just to give a little bit of insight and some brief commentary on the article that you read on CommonLit last week. In a lot of ways, I think this article is framed in a similar fashion to how we do Media Mondays. It is purely an opinion piece. This author has taken information that she has over the last several decades. She looks at the technology of those decades and she compares it to today. And her argument in a lot of ways is that technology in the moment, it seems as most and as greatly advanced as it can possibly be. So for some insight, I watched all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the last 3 weeks here. And a character who I'm sure many of you are familiar with in Iron Man, Tony Stark, here is someone who is touted as the greatest mind of his time. He can create suits that can do literally anything. But when they made those movies, which is around the time that I graduated high school, the top of the line phone that you could purchase was a flip phone. So it's a very odd image to look at. I think that you're watching Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, and I believe even into Iron Man 3, seeing the greatest mind in the world that he lives in use a flip phone. Because now we have phones that are, they're ridiculous. They're insane. And 10 years from now, they will look outdated. And I think that's an interesting way to look at technology. You know, I can look at technology and I can see how much has changed over the last decade since when I was your age and how different cell phones were at that time. Laptops, you know, we had them, but we really weren't using them nearly as regularly as you are now. And I think there's a lot of positives to how technology has continued to grow, but I think inherently there are some negatives as well. But I'll be really interested 10 years from now when I'm thinking back on technology and all of a sudden we have cell phones that are, you know, ingrained into the palm of our hand, or telepathy, or, you know, whatever it may be. How we communicate in 10 years will be way different than how we communicate today. And it's way different than how we communicated 10 years ago. And it's way different than how we communicated 10 years before that. So many of your opinions were very similar. You feel that there were some positives and some negatives. Not many of you went into specifics, which is okay. But I think it's definitely an interesting opinion to think about. And I think it will be something that you reflect on, whether you think you will or not, many years from now, because you'll think back on it and be like, oh my gosh, do you remember when I had the iPhone 5S? And at that point, they'll be on iPhone 20, and it'll be some ridiculous technology. So food for thought. That's why I picked the article. I thought it was due time to have some type of opinion piece since we have not been doing Media Mondays, since we haven't been having school on Mondays. But that's my 2 cents on it. Those are my thoughts. Agree with them, disagree with them. Who knows? But that's the beauty about opinion pieces. So as always, if you have more commentary on it, you'd like to ask me questions about the article, feel free to email me. I'd be more than happy to help you. But stay smart, stay safe. English. Stay smart, be safe, and be good for great. Thanks, guys.